Today I'm going to be ranking the albums by the band Extreme. They only have 6 albums, but they are spread out over about a 30-year period. I'll be spending a little more time than I usually do on a typical ranking. So with that being said, let's jump to number 6. I have the debut album released in 1989 through A&M Records. It might be surprising that I have this album at the bottom. I'll explain my reasons for it. When this album came out, I bought the CD. I was 18 years old, and I thought it was good. I listened to it very often. I think the reason I have it at the bottom is because the other albums are just a lot better. I think this is more straightforward glam metal. There are some hints of funk metal, which they will be doing a lot later on, but still a good album. The songs are catchy. This album has sort of a concept. It's about being like a kid in school, so you will see a lot of that in the song titles. There's some good songs. I think my favorite is Watching Waiting. So this song is about like when Jesus Christ was crucified and people were looking up at him while he was there. And there's some other like really good ones. They have the song Play With Me that was on the Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. And it was also on an episode of Stranger Things. And the songs Wind Me Up and Teacher's Pet, both of them sound a lot like early Van Halen. Then Kid Ego was more typical glam metal with some really cool guitar riffs by Nuno Betancourt. Smoke Signals, that one was more of like a blues rock type of song, similar to like Aerosmith or Cinderella. And the other songs mostly glam metal. They got a lot better with their second album and third album, and that's all I have to say with this. Number 5, I have Waiting for the Punchline, released on January 19, 1995. This is a good album. I think some people might have it at the bottom, but I've always liked it. There's a lot of like intelligent songwriting on this album, and it does have that grunge influence like most albums from the 90s, but I wouldn't say it's like a complete like grunge album. This is the album where they broke up and Gary Cherone joined Van Halen for one album. But there are lots of good songs on here. So the album opens with There's No God. That's a song kind of draws inspiration from some like 80s new wave and hard rock. Cynical, that's a very fun song, has a catchy chorus. There's a cool guitar riffs in that one. Hip Today, that's kind of a grungy song, but it's a very like a catchy song. It's like the type of song that sticks in your head. Then Naked, another song with like some grungy guitar sounds. That a lot of the guitar work on here reminds me of like early Smashing Pumpkins, like that type of guitar tone. Midnight Express, that one's pretty cool. It's a different drum beat, acoustic guitars. Leave Me Alone, that's another grungy song with lots of feedback in the guitars. No Respect, this is where they do like that funky bass sound with some futuristic sound effects. And Evangelist, that's a pretty cool deep cut. It has like this hard rock sound, and they use these like weird distorted vocals. I know Rammstein did something like that on, I think it's the song Zweiter, but I like that one. Shadowboxing, that's more of like a Rolling Stones type of song with like these like Keith Richards style guitar riffs. And Unconditionally, that was like an acoustic song with like alternative rock and folk. And overall, this is an underrated album. I like it a lot. So at number 4, I have Saudades de Rock. That's a Portuguese word that kind of means like feelings of nostalgia. It was released on August 12, 2008, and this is one I only heard for the first time not too long ago, but I actually like it a lot. So I like the songs in here. So we have the opening track, Star. It's about celebrities. That's just a great, like very upbeat, kind of like, kicks off the album very well. Comfortably Dumb. That's like a parody of the Pink Floyd song titles, but it has some cool guitar riffs. Learn to Love. This one has more like a Led Zeppelin blues rock type of sound. And Take Us Alive is more like this bluegrass song. And also another one like a Led Zeppelin 3 type of sound. And Run. This one has pretty cool clean guitar riffs. I like that one a lot. Last Hour is a laid-back ballad. It reminds me of like, there's this like classic Halloween song. I couldn't like think of the title of it, but it reminded me of that. It's like this like Halloween ballad. Flower Man, this is more like a grunge type of song, like in the style of like Nirvana. It's more faster paced. King of the Ladies, that's a very fun song. It's just a repetitive chorus. It's catchy. You gotta watch the music video for that. On this one, like Nuno Betancourt sings the verses and Gary sings the chorus. Then they have a piano ballad called Ghost. Gary singing in more of a falsetto style and interface. An acoustic ballad with these harmonized vocals. And on this album, they're doing lots of different styles. It's just a very good later day album from the band. Number 3, I have 6, the new one released on June 9th, 2023 through ER Music, and this is a solid album. It's a really great comeback album. It's the first album in about 16 years, and I think it's one of the best albums of the year so far. So on this album, the first 3 songs are hard rockers, Rise, Rebel, and Banshee, and after that they play around with different styles. So when I reviewed this album, a lot of people were saying that, oh, they only like the first 3 songs, after that it went downhill, but I disagree. I think this entire album is solid, even though they do different styles. It's just something they've always done. So the other songs, Other Side of the Rainbow, Small Town Beautiful, those are just laid-back ballads, really good songs. The Mask, it's a weird song. I still don't know who sings the first verse. I'm thinking it's Nuno Betancourt, but I've had people tell me like it's other people. And Thicker Than Blood, that was a little different. This one has some like synth wave and it's still a rocker. Save Me reminds me of like Alice in Chains, that like sludgy and grungy type of sound. Hurricane is an acoustic ballad. It kind of reminds me of Led Zeppelin's Going to California. X Out was kind of weird with some like synth pop sounds, but it's a good song. Beautiful Girls had that like California, Venice Beach, like calypso reggae type of sound. I like that one. And the final track, Here's to the Losers, just like this uplifting song with like the people singing in the crowd, and it's just a good album overall. It's not like all hard rock. They do a lot of different styles, but it's just really great. One of my favorites. At number 2, I have Extreme 2, Pornograffitti. This was released on August 7, 1990. This is their big album. So they had the number 1 hit, More Than Words, and they also had a number 4 hit with Wholehearted. So it's kind of a concept album where the first album was about, a child going to school, and this one is like a child kind of growing up and starting to lose their innocence. So lots of good songs. This is where they started changing styles. The opening track, Decadence Dance, is just that's just typical glam metal. Then the album gets a little experimental. So like When I'm President, Gary Sharon does a short rap section. This is when they do like the funk metal with Get the Funk Out. They have a soft jazz piano ballad, When I First Kissed You. Then the song He-Man Woman Hater. This one has Nuno Betancourt playing Flight of the Bumblebee, or at least I think that's what he's playing. And overall, this is just a solid album, but it's not number 1 because there's one album that is just like a little better in my opinion. My number 1 is 3 Sides to Every Story from 1992 and released on September 14th, 1992 through A&M Records. This is like their most mature album. It's a concept album where they have different sides of a story. So the album is divided into parts. So the first part is called Yours, the second part is called Mine, and the third part is called The Truth, which ends with like this 3-part song which spans about like 20 minutes. So it's actually like a very long album, but just a solid like album that's all the way through. So the opening track, Warheads, this is about young men getting recruited, being sent to war. There's Rest in Peace. This has these like Eleanor Rigby style violins and some like the best guitar riffs on any of their albums. Politicality, I'm not pronouncing it right, but it's about politicians. This is like has some like funk and the funk guitars and the horns. Color Me Blind, it's about racism, and this one has lots of guitar acrobatics. Cupid's Dead, that one's pretty cool. It has some funk rock and glam, and it has like a rap section at the end. I'm not sure who the rapper is, but anyway, Peacemaker Die, that's one of my favorites. It's great guitar riffs, and another song about war and racism. 7 Sundays, a big epic ballad with keyboards and orchestration, and Tragic Comic, another cool song with the acoustic guitars and that bouncy rhythm. So overall, this is just a solid album, start to finish, and I think they're best. That's all. Let me know what you thought of my ranking video. I'm sure a lot of you are going to say I put the first album too low, but that's just my opinion. Give me a ranking in the comments. Let me know what you think of this video. Please remember to like this video. It helps me with the algorithm. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And here is my review of Extreme 6. Put that right here. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.